Okay, all righty, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I am so happy that we're able to take some time out of the day and have this conversation around cash flow. I know it's not exactly the fun kind of, it's not like a marketing talk or whatever, or social media strategy talk, but it really is in the end one of the most important topics that you as a business owner need to be sort of looking towards paying attention to. So I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that you decided to do this, and let's get started. So, all right. So the topic of our talk today is going to be how to ensure consistent cash flow in your small or medium-sized business. And I know that some of you are, in different stages of your business. Thank you for those of you who did fill out the questionnaire. Some of you are starting out. Some of you are switching gears. Some of you have been in business for a very long time, and you're sort of a veteran at this, but you're sort of wanting to do some, get some more information around cash flow. So there's a lot of opportunity here to stretch a bit, because wherever you are, this is the place you should be. Okay. All righty. This is me. I'm Kerry-Ann Powell. Obviously you're on my list, so you know who I am. Many of you, so the interesting story about how I even started, because like most of my clients are clients that have been with me for a long time, and they've been through referrals, they've been, years. So I didn't really do a lot of sort of social media ads and those kinds of things. However, about a year or so ago, I started doing some more outreach and to other people through ads. I think I sold a networking class. Some of you came on the list through that. Some of you came on the list through my 6 pillars and how to launch a business white paper that I did, or report that I did. Some of you came on the list from some work that I did with the Small Business Administration. Either way, however you came on, I'm really happy to have you. But it means that it's a small list. So I really only communicated with most of you through either email. And I thought, I haven't actually done an event for the people on the list. So I decided to do this because this is a question and a challenge that I've noticed a lot of people have a challenge within their business. And so I wanted to sort of address it, and also just sort of give you guys something that would be of value. So that's who I am, Kerry-Ann Powell, I'm a business strategist. My company is Trafalgar Strategies. And basically, we help frustrated business owners confidently run their companies smoothly, not like, but smoothly, so they can thrive in business and in life. All right. So let's see here. The plan for the day is do an introduction, which I just did, so check. Then I'm going to talk you through how I'm going to go through the topics today. I'm going to go talk about some assumptions that I'm making for each of you that are on the call. I'm going to do some basic cash flow lingo and language, because some of you have been business owners for a bit, so you're very comfortable with the lingo. Some of you are new, so I'm going to just go through them and help you understand, just so that we're all on the same page. Then we're going to dive into what are some of the cash flow problems that people are having, most people have, and how it's impacting your business. And then I'm going to be giving you some additional solutions. We're going to go through some cash flow problems. There'll be a couple of solutions in each of those cash flow problems, and then I'm going to have additional solutions to the end. So it is just a lot of solutions. I just wanted to give you some, real life things that clients of mine have put into play that has helped their business, as well as what's really, standard stuff that most people are gonna, accountants are gonna tell you to do, and some things that, they won't tell you to do, but I've found it to work to help people bring in cash in their business if they are, if it looks like the business is going down and, they have no cash influx, okay? And then we'll have some questions at the end. You can use the Q&A box. And if you have some questions while I'm talking, feel free to put some questions in there. And then we'll end the thing, and we're going to be done. Literally, I'm going to have you out by 3. So don't you worry. All right. So there's some assumptions that I'm going to be making. Oh, by the way, regarding the plan, Because people are at different places in their business, some of the solutions may work for you in your business because maybe you're a little bit further along. Some of them may not because maybe your business model is different. Maybe because you're early on. Don't close your mind to them, just take them in. I'm also not going to go into extreme detail on every strategy because you're going to have to, it's all specific and I'm not going to be able to answer it specifically for your business. But if it's an idea that pops up, you're like, hey, this looks interesting, do the research and check it out. Or again, you're always welcome to schedule a conversation with me and we can sort of sort that through. All right. But here's some assumptions I'm going to be making about your business. Okay. First, I'm going to assume you have a business model already existing. May not be working that great for you, but you have a business model that exists. I'm not going to talk about different business models in this conversation. I'm going to assume that you guys are business owners, you have a business or you're getting ready to start a business and you already have a business model already existing in your plan. I'm going to assume that you have a sales, marketing, and lead gen process that already exists. Again, I'm not saying it's a perfect process, but you have it and you're executing it. And so there you go. So, and then I'm gonna assume that you have cash flow inconsistencies in your business because, well, you're on this call. All right, so these are the assumptions that I'm making. Again, I said this in a couple emails and I'm gonna say it again. Cash is king in your business. You can have really great revenues. You can say that you're growing, that you have great profits, but if there is no cash in your business, you really, I mean, I've seen a business that has low profits, but good cash flow survive. It's very difficult to find a business where they have no cash but have high profits, and it can exist. So, and particularly for small business where we don't have the cushion that sort of, large companies like Apple and Amazon have, you really have to have cash flow that's positive. All right. The reason why I'm doing this and why it's so important is because the number one reason all businesses fail, regardless of size, is running out of cash. That is the number one reason. And, obviously I'm giving you this quote from the Small Business Administration, but if you were to go through any business book, that is the number one reason. That is why cash is king. And that is why this webinar is so important. And I just wanted to put that out there for you. All right. Let's see. Definitions. Now, some of you may already know this, and that's fine, but we're going to go into this because I feel it's important that we're all on the same page as the language we're discussing. All right. So cash flow is the total amount of money that is being transferred in and out of your business at a specific time, a specific point in time. So it's sort of maybe a snapshot. So for instance, this month, you may have really great cash flow, positive, consistent cash flow for this, for 4 weeks. Next month, you may have no cash flow or really poor, bad cash flow or bad cash flow like the next month. So we want to call it bad with like negative cash flow. So it's really a snapshot, but the point is that it's flow, the flow coming in and out, and then that is what cash flow is. All right. Now, there's positive cash flow and there's negative cash flow. And I know you all can say what it is. Positive cash flow is when there is more cash moving into the business as opposed to moving out of the business. Negative cash flow is when there is less cash moving into the business versus out of the business. So you want to be going towards positive cash flow. Now, I've been using the word inconsistent cash flow. The reason why I'm using that language is because you can have positive cash flow one month, negative cash flow the next month. That's not helping you so much. I mean, it's a part of business, right? You're going to have these sort of ups and downs. But the goal here is to have consistent positive cash flow, a business that has positive cash flow on a regular basis over a period of time. And then you and your accountant determine what that regular period of time is and what kind of projections you want to do on that. Okay, so we're looking at cash flow, the flow in and out, it's movement. Don't think of it as static per se. Positive is more money coming in than going out. Negative, more going out than coming in. And consistent is it's regular over a period of time. This is a visual for my visual learners. I love pictures. So, cash flow going in and cash flow going out. This whole thing is the flow of cash. And the green thing, I guess, is your business. So we want to have that more in than out. Okay, now there's 3 different types of cash in business. I know you didn't know that. Well, maybe some of you did. There's operating cash, there's investing cash, and then there is financing cash. Okay, operating, investing, financing. Let's see. What is the difference? Operating cash is the money that includes all cash that's generated by your company's main activities. Okay. If you sell widgets, money that you sell the widgets and someone pays you for the widgets, that's operating cash. If you are paying salary, that's normal operating, money, you got to pay your employees. That's a negative cash flow, but it is operating cash. So selling inventories, positive cash flow. Purchasing inventories, negative cash flow. Paying salaries, negative cash flow because it's going out. Providing salaries or products or services, positive because you bring money in. So that's operating cash flow. Operating cash flow is it. You really want to be focusing on that, particularly as a small business, okay? Investing cash flow is sort of cash flow that includes the purchases of capital assets, investments in other business ventures and so forth. So stocks they've purchased, sales of fixed assets, purchase of fixed assets and sales of investment securities. So any of those sort of investment type money that would be considered in the cash flow bucket. By the way, cash flow is, again, negative, positive, in and out. It's always that flow. And then we have financing cash flow, which includes all the proceeds gained from issuing debt and equity, as well as payments made by the company. So loan from a financial institution coming into you, take a business loan, repayment of that loan, you're paying it out. Issuing bonds, if you decide to issue bonds as your company, and then when you're paying the dividends to stockholders. So that's the finance cash flow. So operating cash flow is queen. If cash is king, operating cash flow is queen, right? And I don't like to put a lot of words, but sometimes it helps for people to just sort of see this. And I'm going to read it a bit and then you can kind of see it. If a company is not bringing in enough money from the operating core business operations of the business, if you're not selling the widgets that you're supposed to be selling, okay, then it will need to find temporary sources of external funding through financing or investing. Now, it's all cash, right? If you get a loan or if you, sell bonds in your company, that's still cash coming in. The thing is, it's not sustainable in the long run. So therefore, operating cash flow is an important figure to assess in the financial stability of a company's operations. And again, particularly for small businesses like you guys and my small business as well, the operating cash flow part is really important. But again, we do need to consider the investing and financing. All righty. So just want to go back. Yeah. Okay. So I like to think of your business as the Big Idea Inc. Yeah. The Big Idea Inc. You had a business, you knew that you wanted to serve the world in some way, whether you had a good product or a good service, some sort of a thing. So I call you Big Idea Inc. Now, your business supports a lot of things, even if you are still starting up, right? But eventually, if you can visualize your business and what it's going to be in the future state, it's going to be supporting employees. It's going to be supporting probably the employees' families, your family, your vendors and suppliers. If this is you going on vacation, having a fantastic life, your salary, your donations to charitable causes and supporting, church or charities that you support. It supports the economy in your town, your city, your nation, and ultimately the world. And it supports innovation because small businesses are number one, in the US, small businesses have the highest amount of innovation. They employ more people. and not more quantity, but percentage wise. And so, the role that your company serves, even if you're in the beginning stages, but if you look into the future, it will be supporting a lot of people and a lot of things. And if you think about this extrapolated, you look at the employees, their families, the suppliers and vendors, their staff. So your business is not just a hobby, it's a really important linchpin in the economy. As a result, you must take care of it, okay? And I am so passionate about small, medium, and mid-market companies growing so they can employ people, they can, pay their taxes, they can, commit to charitable causes and solve some of the big world problems and really be a source of wealth building for its owners. And so when you see these kinds of problems, the effects of cash flow problems on small businesses, it's not for nothing, it's a big deal. So here are some of the problems, and there could be more, but so you have late payments when you don't have enough cash, you don't have positive cash flow, you have late payments to suppliers, which means that you have a strained relationship with them. There's tension at home. If you have a business, you're the founder, the business owner, maybe your family, maybe, your spouse, your partner, you guys decided to invest some of your own personal money into the business. And then, you kind of have no cash. And then, it's a bit of a problem. It can lead to anxiety, sleeplessness, all of those things. I mean, I've had clients who are like, well, they're not sleeping when they first come to me because of that. Late or missed debt repayments resulting in decreased credit ratings of the business. And if you did any personal loans that you took out for the business, all right, additional debt to cover the business expenses. So you can take more debt out to cover the expenses. Missed opportunities to grow the business through investments. I mean, I can't tell you how much, if you don't have a good cash flow, you don't have the ability to invest in the business or investments at all. It has a negative impact on your marketing strategies and competitive advantage. I mean, you need to be putting your money back into the business so you can grow more tools, more resources, more systems, more of these types of things that build the business up. If you have no cash flow, you can't invest in them, which means that it's just like a cycle of the baby. I look at our businesses as our baby, just becoming more and more malnourished. Covering expenses with your personal funds, which don't do that. But sometimes you have to. So again, it's a big problem, reduces employee morale. If you have a team member, it's hard. One of my clients that came to me when she first started working with me, she was paying her employees like sometimes 20 days late, 30. I mean, come on. They were so angry. There was so much low morale. And then when we finally got the whole thing together, they are like running, like they love it. They love working because they love the work that they do. And they actually love her as an employer. But when you can't pay your employees and then your employees can't pay their bills, oh Lord, not a problem. Reduce customer satisfaction. I mean, because if you can't pay your vendors, then you can't provide for the customers the way that you need to. So then they're unhappy. And then of course, in the end, business closure due to insolvency. And that does happen. And thank God, knock on wood, we've been able to pull some of our clients back from that edge. But this is the reality of what happens when you have low cash flow. Okay. So here's some causes of cash flow. I'd asked in this questionnaire what some of the causes for you guys, and it was really enlightening. Here's some of the main causes, and again, it could be many causes, okay, but these are some of the main ones, just so that you can get a sense of like, how did I get here? Or I know how I got here, but how are other people getting here? On the slides coming up, there's going to be some solutions to them, just because I didn't want to like break it up, but there's also going to be some additional solutions at the end after I go through the problems. All righty. So let's go. How are we doing on time? All right, we're moving along. So one of the causes is lack of cash reserves. The statistics are pretty overwhelming. 86% of small business owners in 2020 said that they would need to take action if faced with a 2-month revenue loss. All right, which means, if you think about when COVID, and one of the things that I did with my clients when everything happened, when they did the whole stay-at-home order, I was like, look, Let's have conversations about this. What we're not going to do is we are not going to not be able to keep your businesses alive. I never forgot, I had a conversation like right after, and one of my clients was crying to me because she's like, I'm gonna have to let my team go. She has like 10 employees, and she was like, I'm gonna have to let them go because I don't know how I'm gonna do this, because she was like in a regulated industry that they had sort of regulated. Oh my goodness, we were like, no, it's not going to happen. And she really worked hard to come up with different solutions to pivot and not, but had she had more cash reserves, that would not have been a problem. So one of the things around creating a cash reserve is to create a plan to start putting away. Look, I get it. If you don't have a cash reserve right now, I get it. It's difficult. But if you can begin creating a plan to put away cash in your budget of your business budget, to have a reserve and do it for 12 months, 6 months, definitely, but 12 months preferably, that's a good way to start that process. Okay, another cause is expensive borrowing. Debt payments can cause cash flow problems when a business can't afford its financing. Business loans and credit cards, which with high interest rates, they take up a lot of your revenue. So obviously, you know, one of the things you want to do is negotiate lower interest rates. But I know that sometimes that can be difficult, particularly if a small business and it hasn't been around for a long time. It's hard to build business credit, but make that a priority for yourself, because at the end, you know, most businesses at some point take out loans. I mean, it's not like a bad thing. If you want to invest in your research and development in your company, definitely you're going to want to have a loan at some point. But what you don't want to do is have like massive loans, credit card loans with like, 19% interest. I mean, that's like madness. So what you want to do is start building your business credit so that you can be able to have low interest rates on your loans. But in the end, yes, that's a problem. Expensive borrowing can be a problem for cash flow issues. Decreasing sales or profit margins. So I put them together, but they really should be separate. But so some of you did say that you just don't have enough customers, and that is very, very common. So if you don't have enough customers, or your customer numbers have gone down, then of course your cash flow is down. If it costs too much to produce the product that you're doing and it's not enough, even if you had a ton of clients and customers, but the profit margin is so thin, then you're going to have cash flow problems there. So selling products and services at prices that are too low can result in low profit margin. And similar problems can arise when sales teams offer discounts that cut into your profit margin. So if you're doing all the selling, or if you have a team that's doing the selling, I know discounts and sales are important, but you got to watch those discounts and sales, or build your price structure so that it can hold those discounts. So the solution would be to increase your prices. Of course, it's one of the conversations I have constantly with clients: increase prices or lower production costs as much as you can. All right, let's move on. Outstanding receivables. I cannot tell you how many of my clients have this problem. So late payments on invoices are a common cause of cash flow problems for small businesses. Between 2018 and 2019, small businesses averaged an 81% increase in outstanding receivables. You're basically a bank, right? I mean, I remember having a conversation with one of my business owners, and she was saying, she had a big contract with this like major Fortune 500 company, and they did not pay her until a year later on this contract. I was like, we're gonna have a conversation about this. And literally I helped her. I am not a lawyer, but I did not practice law with my clients, but I recommend you have a lawyer. But a way to create your contracts in which you're breaking down your deliverables in a way that you're not having these long extended period of time. Also, there's another way that there's a lot of solutions that I have in the back, so I'm not going to focus on this one, but accounts receivable is a big problem. In 2019, small business owners surveyed average 78,000 in outstanding receivables. 78,000 in outstanding receivables. That's ridiculous. So one of the solutions you can do is penalize late payments. immediately, like it's a part of your whole like client onboarding process. You explain to them your accounts receivable process, and in that you say, okay, if it's 1 day after the payment is not received on the day of due date, then the price goes to this. And then if it goes to this for more and then longer it out, those gets higher and higher. And it's not a matter of questioning, it's a part of the contract, and you just bill them that way. And then incentivize early payments. So if they, you send out your, one solution I always recommend to clients is like send out your invoices 15 days before. And then if they, you can give them like, hey, if you pay within 5 days of that, or within, whatever time you want to do in your business, you get a discount of 10%, or no, not 10%, but maybe 1%, 5%, you can depend on that. Okay, uncontrolled business growth. This is a thing that a lot of times people don't really recognize that it's a thing, because they're like, oh, I want to grow, I want to scale, I want to grow, I want to scale. They have this whole thing nowadays. The problem is cash flow mistakes are common during high growth phases. Like cash flow shortfalls can come from overcasting growth and when expenses exceed the working capital. So a solution of this is, if you're in a high growth period in your company, it's critical to sort of recognize the differences between the profit and cash flow. Just because you're getting a profit because you're growing, but if the cash flow isn't there, you're not in a good place. The other thing too is the difference between growth and scale. Growth is you're basically growing at the same rate of your revenues, but if you're scaling, you're growing more than your revenue. So you're finding ways to scale the business without increasing expenses. So if you are in a high growth phase of your business right now, pay attention to that. It can definitely be a reason why you have cash flow problems. If you are in a product-based business, and you might have too much. This is notorious. It's very difficult for companies who have products to sort of figure out when and how much to order, particularly since I remember hearing this story, this one entrepreneur who, she was like, oh, she did this whole thing. She has her stuff manufactured in China. So she decided to, she was going to get a good deal by, ordering more. And so she ordered like all this inventory, but then in the end, she couldn't move the inventory. She lost millions in her company. So over investing in inventory can leave the business in a pinch if the sales don't cover the investment costs. So keeping inventory on hand for the shortest time possible can help keep inventory from contributing to cash flow shortages. And what you want to be doing if you're in a business like that, and if you're in this kind of business, I'm sure you know this, but you want to have, there's lots of different software out there that can manage your inventory and project what was going on last year. If you're in a new product business and you want to walk real tender on this space, don't order too much. But if you have a system where it projects, okay, this is how much was ordered last year, that way you can kind of manage to see, okay, well, this is how much I'm probably going to have next year, maybe like a 5% increase. All right. Seasonal changes in demand. So, many business owners, have seasonal businesses. If you're a tax preparer, right, is it like busy time, and then there's like a sluggy time. So many business experiences seasonal fluctuations in demand. If business owners don't account for these changes, then they can lead to less than ideal cash flow situations. So a solution would be cash flow projections and accurate sales forecasting. You can do that on a spreadsheet in Excel or Google Sheets or whatever, or you can, this is going to be the big thing I'm saying, get a bookkeeper. So you can sort of really have good projections. Okay, I'm just looking at the time. All right, we're at a good place. Inaccurate forecasting or bookkeeping practices that may be a reason why you're having a hard time with your cash flow. So 61% of small business owners don't know how much they are spending each month. Is that you? Just wondering. 62% said they're unsure of how much money lands in their bank account each month. So a solution would be to hire a bookkeeper and then use an accounting system. So a lot of people are like, well, what's a bookkeeper? And a bookkeeper is just someone who is going to be able to, you're going to basically send your receipts to them. I mean, usually, now like back in the day, I think like, my parents or whatever, they would send actual receipts. Now it's just a simple matter of uploading, scanning them to their system. They enter all the stuff, and after a while, they know exactly what different to be. But in the first part, you're going to tell them, okay, this from Staples was, was my I don't know, business supplies, but 10 cents out of that was, or $1 out of that was Mentos. So that was personal. But yeah, you want to kind of have a bookkeeper so they can arrange all of your receipts, all of your expenses, and every month they give you all of the profit and loss statement, income statement, the cash statement. I'm going to show you what that looks like at the end of this too, all the solutions, so you can see they give you that monthly, so then you can use that to track and see what is really happening. And they'll do a cash flow forecast for you, and therefore okay, this is what's going on in my business. But sometimes, like if you're doing it on your own, sometimes it's inaccurate forecasting, and then there you go. All right. Here's some additional solutions that I wanted to run by you. Improving your sales process. Many of you had said that because you just don't have enough clients. So, but then the other part is that you have the clients, but they're not paying their bills. So you want to qualify and vet all prospective customers and clients. I mean, don't just take every one of your business. If you're using, like for instance, if you're in a industry where you're having services, or there's going to be like a monthly payment thing, or there's a contract or something like that, just vet your customers, your clients. Obviously, in the beginning of this, the improving your sales process, I'm assuming, again, one of the assumptions I had was that you have a marketing and a sales and a lead generation system already in your business. But sometimes so for instance, have you sat down and say, okay, this is how many customers, based on how much you're charging for whatever the thing is, this is how many customers I need to have on a monthly basis to be able to hit whatever the thing is, based on expenses and based on how much I want to put in reserve, and then how much it is for all the other stuff, right? And then if you know how much you need and how many customers you need to be able to do that, then you're going to back out into then how many sales conversations do I need to be having? How many folks need to be coming to your website to purchase, the lotion that you sell? How many leads need to be coming in? And then how do you get those leads? Is your process really working? Are you have enough people, enough eyes on your business to be able to come in, whether it's inbound or outbound marketing, to be able to get enough people for you then to be able to qualify the people and then be able to have the best people buying from you. If you, for contract sales, the yes is not the final step. This happens all the time. So if you are like a consultant or coach or someone like that, right? Or if you do consulting with large organizations, and the person says, oh, great, yes, we want to, after you've done through the whole thing, you've prospected, you walk them through your sales process, you've had the meeting, and they finally say yes. That is not the end of the game. I know you know this, but it's like something people feel in their head. They hear the word yes, and they're like, yeah, okay, now we've won it, we go party. No, that's just the beginning of another process of you getting them to sign the contract and to secure the deposit. So if you are doing one of those things and you're not getting at least a 25 to 50% deposit before you do work, start now, start doing that. But for the contract, make sure you're moving. I had a mentor that say it's basically moving. Once they say yes, then there's like a whole end zone. You have to move them to the end zone, because sometimes there's many different people that need to sign off on the contract. There are many people that need to have the onboarding process. There's many people that need to be a part of the decision-making if it's a large company, for instance. And so you need to bring them from yes to signing the contract and giving your deposit. That to me is the only time in which you've actually secured the customer and you can start work. A lot of people start work before then, and then it's a hot mess to try to get back them to sign this contract. That also the contract also must include an accounts receivable clause in the agreement. And in that, it's your accounts receivable process, which allows for them to know how you operate to be able to get the money in, because you might get a yes and it's signed. Now you got a profit in your, in the column. Oh, I got a profit, that's signed, and blah, blah, blah. And then you can never receive that money. So getting a accounts receivable clause in there that helps them understand what your process is. That's you're the business owner giving them a service, then make sure that's in there. Increasing your prices. I know it's very generic, but sometimes so many people, and I notice this a lot more with women business owners than men, but your prices have to be high enough so that you can pay the expense and have a good enough profit margin. And so, and going cheap never really works. You attract cheap customers too. I mean, I don't know what your business model is, but if you are in a business where, you're like Walmart, if you have products and it's like Walmart, you're trying to go for the cheapest, price, you can never go cheaper than Walmart, right? But if that's the model that you're looking sort of commodity or discount, then I get it. But if you can find a way to just sort of increase your prices in a way to give you enough cushion, then your cash flow will change. On the same token, reducing expenses. Now, I'm not talking about reducing the important expenses that if you reduce them, like if you reduce all of your marketing tool and there's no other way to get customers to know you, then that's just shooting yourself in the foot. But are there some premium things that you have in the business that you can reduce the expenses around? Maybe you have, 5, employees that currently do similar work. Is there a way for you to be able to maybe streamline that? If you have, products that you use in the business that you don't necessarily need to use that higher level, I don't know if you buy the expensive pen, but find ways to reduce your expenses as best as you can, because that's going to help you with your cash flow. Provide several ways to pay. Back in the day, I used to be like, oh, you're the vendor. You tell people how they can pay you, and that's it. But right nowadays, like there's so many ways to pay to get money. Be as open as you want to be. Even it's interesting, like depending upon if you're selling internationally, for instance, versus in the US versus different cultures pay differently as well, different tools. Even nowadays, it's not really weird to have a corporation pay with PayPal. So my point is, think about all the mechanisms of ways that someone can pay you and make it possible for them to pay you. So we want to make sure that, as best you can, make it possible for them to pay you. Don't make it difficult for them to pay you. All right. Again, I talked about charging a fee for late payments. Decide what that's going to be. Have the conversation ahead of time so that it's not a question. You pay. If you don't pay by this time, then I'm just going to reissue the invoice, and this is how much it's going to be. And then, of course, find the discount for early payments, which I really think is very incentivizing for particularly for companies that really do want to save money themselves. Let's see here, next slide. If you can automate the payment as possible, so if you have a product or a service that you can kind of automatically pull the payment once a month, therefore you're not having to invoice, do that. All right. There's so many ways to do that. I mean, if you use Stripe, there's definitely ways to just pull it out of the bank account. And you just tell your customers this is how we operate in our business. But the more you can automate that, so you're not having to like run around people all the time trying to chase the payment that month, that will be good for your business. So find any possible way to automate that. Or even automate your accounts receivable process. So therefore, whether it's through QuickBooks or whoever, your bookkeeper, basically have the invoice, it goes out automatically 15 days into the month. a reminder goes out automatically 10 days and automatically goes out whatever, and the day before it automatically goes out. That's why you're not like having to do a whole, I just following up on the invoice type of stuff. You just like automatically like, so that you can spend the time, doing what is you like to do best, which is serving your customers. This is basically what I just said, improve automated process for the accounts receivable. Okay, now look, your business, you're gonna have to borrow money at some point. And if you're low on cash, you cannot survive without cash. So you're gonna, if none of these processes that I've recommendations that I've made before still doesn't give you enough cash, then you're gonna need to borrow money, but borrow money at the lowest interest rate possible. So you're going to infuse the cash into the business. And then once you infuse that cash into the business, use it wisely into the things that are going to generate more income in the business. And so that, you can then get back on track. It's not sustainable long-term, but it is what it is. And what I didn't put in here too is, you can do sort of like a Kickstarter. If you're in a case where your business is really, really leaving cash and you cannot take any loans out, or you do not want to take any loans out, you can also do a Kickstarter. So many businesses have gotten investments that way. As a matter of fact, my sister and her husband have are building a coffee shop out in California, and they did a Kickstarter for the early days of because they were taking a loan out, but they also wanted to do some additional stuff. They didn't want to take too much of a loan, and they were able to get some really great response through Kickstarter. So, I would say go, again, research it. Remember, I said all of these recommendations that I'm putting out there for you are ways that you can, it might work for you, it might not work for you. Be open-minded. But if one of them, is like, yeah, that works, that looks like I might want to do that, research it more. And again, you can schedule a call with me. Let's see here. Negotiate with your vendors and suppliers to either move your payments. So like if you're going to get a big payment from a customer, say at the end of the quarter, talk to your vendors and see if they will move the due date for bills to that time. It's a way of you managing the cash flow in your business. So, and look, the vendors and the suppliers want you as a customer, and they want you to pay them. So they are much more eager to allow for you to move something over, maybe a month or two later without, interest and all that kind of stuff. And so have a good relationship with your vendors and suppliers, because again, they're part of your ecosystem and your economy. Let's see here. Client onboarding. This is a part of it. After you get the contract signed, and now you have a new client, right? And you're going over the AR process. And so you want to do that, but then also find out who the point of contact is in the accounting department that's going to be cutting your check. And also who's in the team of people you're going to be working with. That's also going to be your point of contact. And then you develop a good relationship with the people who are in the accounting department, as well as the person of point of contact. This is just good business sense. I remember I was working for a company, and I was, I was the one always hiring the vendors and in my department. But it was hilarious because I would see some of my vendors or my suppliers walking the halls, and they're going to accounting with like flowers and cake and whatever. They found a way to, to develop relationships there. Do what you need to do to make sure you get paid. Okay, work with an attorney to protect your business if non-payment. All right, so let me check the time again. Here we're doing. Ooh, we're really like 9 minutes in. I'm gonna move us closer. Work with an attorney to protect your business. All right, I'll stay a little longer to answer questions for people. Okay, because I really want to get through this. I thought I was doing well. Anyway, work with an attorney to protect your business if non-payment, meaning I'm not an attorney, but like you want to have, I am an attorney, but I'm not coaching, I'm not giving you legal advice. But when you are signing, like creating your contracts, make sure that there are clauses in there about like what happens if an act of God happens. What happens if non-payment, you want to increase, like make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row. And then considering factoring or discounting your invoices. What this means is it's a whole process where if you have invoices that are, net 30, net 90, net 60, no, 120 days out, you can go to a factoring company and they will purchase the invoice, okay, and they would collect on it. It's a little complicated because then the relationship you have with the business is kind of a little weird, your customer. But if you're not going to recoup that, you can factor it, or you can at least get a discounted invoice. All right. Again, it's about getting cash back into your business. That's cash. If you don't have cash, your business dies. All righty. Develop a cash flow projection a year out, which gives you a sense of where things are going. Oh, and okay, I've got a contract that's going to end in 3 months. I'm not going to be able to roll off someone until another 5 months. So I'm going to have a little bit of a dip this month. Maybe you need to either increase your sales so that they come up in that month, or ask your vendors to move to the other month, right? But if you have a cash flow projection, you'll know where things are looking. And the more you do it years and years, your business will have a better view as to what it really is. Hire a bookkeeper, hire a bookkeeper, hire a bookkeeper. Here are some of the things that your bookkeeper can give you and you can use to be able to determine what your numbers are looking like. So cash flow statement, really important. They can do that for you each month. Income statement, which is also known as a profit and loss statement, get that each month. You get a great balance sheet, which gives you all of the numbers, right? My favorite is, again, I'm all about cash is king. So I love the cash statement. So you get that. It gives you so much information. You get it every once a month, okay? So hire a bookkeeper. They're not expensive and they're really great support. And then by the time it's ready for tax season, you have everything together. You just give it to your accountant. It's like, hello, here you go. None of that drama, right? And they make sure that you pay your quarterly taxes as well. So, okay, so I am finished now. So we're going to jump into questions. I'm going to, let's see here. Stop the share. I have a couple of Q&As. I honestly do that to avoid running customers off. Gasleen, hi Gasleen, how are you? What do you do to run that you run people off? Type it into the Q&A. And I'll jump to the next question you had. How will I do the automation? This is great information. I never do invoices, just send them a link. Great information. Oh, I'm so glad you're getting value from this. Hi, Kathleen. Yeah, how will you do the automation? Okay, so remind me again, Gasleen, what is your business? Just type that in there. What's your business? Right. Okay. So what you can do, because okay, so you have a hairstyle, you have a why can't I have a brain? Beauty salon. And maybe, who knows, but subscription-based companies are really they're now creating, so many industries are doing subscription-based. So you basically, if someone wants to say, hey, if they come to you on a monthly basis, and you can, have a subscription based through Stripe or whatever, and basically, have them pay whatever it is that their monthly, whatever the thing is it costs. So if it's like $50 a month, and they just come in and they, and you can give them incentives for that, right? So you're automatically taking the money out, but then they're going to come anyway. The ones who are always coming, right? Those are your more loyal customers, because they know they're going to be coming. Then you just do it and you take it out, and then you can give them some incentive for if you do this, then I'll give I'll give you an additional whatever, maybe you give them a product, because I think was it wigs you did as well. I think you did customized wigs too. Yes, type in yes if that's what I'm thinking you did. So that's one way you could do it. But automating the invoices, what you can do through that is through QuickBooks or one of those, and particularly if you're working with a with a bookkeeper, you can sort of put it on a timetable where they're just, sending out at the same time all the time, to automate that process so that you're not constantly calling in people or pushing the thing. Even if the time, look, you guys, we have so much to do as business owners, okay? We don't have the time to be doing other things, particularly if you don't have a team around you. I know some of you have built great teams, and I've helped so many people build strong teams, because I don't really know, you can't grow a business, you can't hire staff, you can't contribute to charities in your town, you can't be a part of the economic growth in your city if you're sitting there spending time doing things like, hi, just following up on the invoice. Like, you don't have that time to do that. So you want to automate as best possible. Was that helpful, Gasoline? That makes sense? Let me see here. All right, good. All right. Any other questions, guys? Well, actually, I did okay. I didn't do too bad. I got 2 minutes out. All right. Any other questions? You can just put them in the Q&A. Yeah, any more questions? Okay, so look, guys, I hope this was helpful. Again, you can reach out to me at kp@kerryannpowell.com. You can reach out to my assistant, Ashley, at assistant@kerryannpowell.com. We are so passionate about small, medium, mid-market companies being able to grow and to impact their communities and to create wealth for the owners and for the employees. So it's something that we do. We recognize, though, that running a business can feel, even though you love it, it can feel like you're like trying to manage this kind of tornado type thing, because you have all these things coming at you, kind of like Twister, and what you really want is to be able to run a business that's smooth and you feel confident and calm about it. And that's what we do. We help you feel calm about running your business. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out. If you want to work with me and become a client, Jill, I see you in there, trying to be all quiet and such, I get it. But if you want to become a client, just reach out to me. Let's have a conversation about it. And we can, let's get started, because look, y'all have things to do. You have, building mega mogul large companies, or if you want to stay small, but making money so that you can make an impact in the lives of your family and yourself. All right, so we are at 3 o'clock, so I'm going to end, but it was such a pleasure. Shoot me an email if you have additional questions about cash flow, and we will end the day. Bye, guys.